This story starts with a man named Larry. Larry was about 50 years old and lived in New York. Before this story begins, Larry had been in prison for a while. He was in prison because he had done some bad things. He was a con artist, which means he tricked people to get money. When he got out of prison, Larry decided to go live with his daughter, Talia. Talia was a college student. She was a sophomore, which means she was in her second year at college. She lived on campus at Sarah Lawrence College, in a dormitory with other students. One day, Larry just showed up at the dorm. He started spending a lot of time in the common area where students hang out. He would sleep on the couches at night. At first, Talia's friends thought it was a little strange that Larry was there so much, but they didn't say much. Larry was only supposed to stay a few days, but he never left. Instead, he started living in the dorm building all the time. He slowly made friends with the students who lived there, including Talia's roommates. Larry told them he was a life coach. He said he could help them with problems like breakups and depression. He told stories about his life, saying he was in the Marine Corps and worked for the CIA on secret missions. None of this was true, but the students believed him because Larry was very charming. Even though Larry had just gotten out of prison, he said he was innocent. He told the students the government and elites were trying to silence him. The students trusted him. They thought he was wise and cool. Soon, Larry became like a mentor to them. They started coming to him for advice. In just a few months, Larry had made a small group of students trust him completely. They would do almost anything he asked. This small group was only about 4 or 5 students, but Larry had already begun to build his control over them. Not everyone liked Larry. Some students who lived in the dorm thought he was creepy. They even emailed the school to warn them. But the school didn't do anything. Larry stayed there, growing stronger in his influence. After some time living in the dorm, Larry and several students moved out to a small apartment in Manhattan. This apartment was tiny, only 1 bedroom, but about 8 people lived there, including Larry. It was crowded and not a comfortable place to live, but Larry kept a strong hold over the group. 2 of the girls shared a bedroom with Larry, while the others stayed in the living room. Larry started holding what he called therapy sessions with the students. These were long, intense talks where he tried to control their thoughts and feelings. He even recorded these sessions on video. Larry made the students stay awake for long hours and gave them pills that made them anxious and nervous. If anyone disagreed with him or tried to question his rules, Larry threatened to show their private videos to their families. The students felt scared and trapped. He also pressured the students to do things they didn't want to do, including some that involved personal boundaries. Larry used the videos as a way to control and scare them, making sure they would not try to leave or stand up to him. This situation went on for the entire summer. Larry's control over the group became stronger and stronger. The students felt they had no way out because they were afraid of what might happen if they tried to escape or tell someone. When the next school semester began, most of the students stayed with Larry in the apartment. Only Larry's daughter, Talia, returned to live in the dorm. Larry continued to control the others tightly, making sure they followed his rules. As time went on, Larry's control over the students became even stronger. He didn't just talk to them anymore. He started using other ways to keep them in line. If someone didn't do what Larry wanted, he would make them feel very scared. Larry made the students say things on camera that weren't true. He forced them to confess to bad things they didn't do. These videos were scary and made the students feel trapped because Larry said he would show the videos to the police or their families if they didn't obey him. Because of this, the students started to believe they owed Larry money for these crimes. Some of them took money from their parents without telling them. One girl even convinced her parents to sell their house to pay Larry. Larry also became physically mean to the students. He would push or grab them if they didn't listen. One time, he even scared a student by putting a plastic bag over her head for a short time. Another time, he threatened a student by holding pliers near their tongue. These actions were very frightening and showed how dangerous Larry really was. Even though the students were scared, they kept giving Larry money and doing what he said. Larry made over $1 million from these students. This money came from their family's savings and hard work. The students were stuck in a very hard situation. They felt like they couldn't get away because Larry had too much power over them. Some of the students became very sad and upset because of what was happening. After living in that small apartment for a while, Larry and the group had to move. They left New York and went far away to a house in North Carolina that belonged to one of Larry's family members. But things didn't get better. They got worse. At this new house, Larry made the students work very hard. They had to do physical jobs like digging holes in the yard and cleaning up outside. It was like they were doing chores all day, and Larry acted like he was in charge of everything. The students felt like they were prisoners, with no real freedom. Larry kept asking the students to get money from their families to give to him. Some of the students did what Larry said and called their families, asking for money. Larry took that money and kept it for himself. After some time, they moved back to New York. Larry was still controlling the group, and he made new demands. One student didn't have enough money to pay Larry. To solve this, Larry forced her to work at a club. She had to do things she didn't want to do, all to pay off the money Larry said she owed him. Larry kept taking money from this student and others. In 4 years, Larry made about $2.5 million from the group. The students felt trapped in this terrible situation, but Larry's control was too strong. The pressure and fear were too much for some of the students. At different times, 5 of the group tried to hurt themselves because they felt so sad and hopeless. Sadly, one student died. This shows just how hard it was for the students. Larry's control made their lives very difficult. They felt like they could not escape, even though they wanted to. But after many years, the students began to realize how dangerous Larry was. By 2018, some of them found the courage to leave. It was not easy. They were scared and unsure about what would happen. But they knew that staying with Larry could hurt them more. One of the students who had worked at the club got help from a client. This person gave her money and a way to escape. She went to Philadelphia and finally told the police everything about Larry and his group. After the student escaped and told the police what had happened, everything started to change. The police listened carefully to her story. They learned about Larry's control, the money he took, and how he hurt the students both mentally and physically. In 2020, the police went to Larry's apartment in New York. They arrested him. Because Larry had made videos of many of his actions, the police had strong proof against him. This helped make sure he could not deny what he did. Larry was charged with many serious crimes. These included sex trafficking, extortion, which means forcing people to give him money, and racketeering, which is a fancy word for running a criminal group. The court case took time, but in the end, Larry was found guilty. The judge gave him a very long prison sentence, 60 years in prison. This means Larry will spend most of the rest of his life behind bars. For the students, the arrest was a relief but also a chance to start healing. Many of them needed help from doctors and counselors to recover from what happened. It was not easy for them, but now they were free from Larry's control. This story is a warning about how dangerous it can be when someone uses lies and fear to control others. Larry seemed like a friendly, wise man at first, but he was really hurting people for a long time. It also shows how important it is to listen when someone feels unsafe or scared. Sometimes people around us may be in trouble, even if we don't see it at first. Thanks to the brave students who spoke up, Larry's harmful control ended. The law caught up with him, and now he can no longer hurt anyone else. Thanks for watching this story. If you liked it, please click the like button and subscribe for more true stories. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think. Stay safe and see you next time.